work in the area of HR automation for many years, since 1999. And as the subject of this conference is change management, I started to think what we have in the area of change management in our software. And I quickly realized that the switch to using some software for HR automation is maybe the biggest change that the HR organization within a company could face. 15 or 20 years ago, I started my career in a small software development company called Auriga in Moscow, which grew from 5 people, I was one of them, to 400 people. In Russia, it's not a big company, but I guess that 400 people is about the size of an average company here in Armenia. And what I saw during my 13 years in Auriga is that the main focus of HR for many years had been recruiting, and that's it. Recruiting, finding new people and retaining them and talking to them about salary. And approximately when we reached the headcount of 250 engineers, we realized that we need something else. We, by the way, I don't see my slides anymore. Just a second. Спасибо. So what we did, we started using some software in 2 areas. The first area was e-learning. The second area was personnel assessment. We established an assessment procedure based on KPIs and values, and initially we did everything in Excel. But even when we have 200 or 300 people on board, performance appraisals via printed out forms, collecting them, processing them is a problem. It's not convenient, and you wouldn't be easily you wouldn't process this information easily. It would be difficult to compare it from year 1 to year 2, from year 2 to year 3, and so on. So at some point, an organization needs a solution that helps to do the HR business, that helps you to automate the HR processes. And here we come. So the main focus of our software products is automation of main HR processes. We develop HR portals, learning portals, and let you develop e-learning content with the specialized tools that we also provide. We have 2 major products. One of them is called WebTutor. It is a combined learning management system and talent management system in one platform, and CourseLab, a tool for developing e-learning courses. I will mostly focus on WebTutor today, and the fact is that this software is the #1 talent management platform in Russia. We have more than 4,000 clients, and some of them use just the recruiting functionality of our software. Some of them, more than 500 of them, build complex HR portals and learning portals, and we'll be discussing this practice in more detail today. We actually find that we are able to cover most of HR needs that we see in our clients in Russia. We don't focus on basic HR records management, salary calculation. There are plenty of base HR products for that area, but when you need to implement more advanced HR processes, we help to build an HR portal or learning portal that will solve this task. There are different clients that use our software. I'll show you various cases, various examples of what people do closer to the end of my presentation. For now, let's focus on the processes that we help to automate. In fact, there is a cycle which starts with recruiting. When we find new people, bring them to the company, we need to help them with the onboarding process through getting information about the company, through learning. We need to assess our employees and establish various requirements towards the positions in terms of competencies that they need to possess, and we need to manage their performance and track whether they help to reach the goals that the company sets to itself and to its employees. Then we need to develop their career and make our best to retain them in the company. And then within the pool of talents of the most successful, the most the employees with the best ratio of performance and development potential, we select people who would move our company forward, who would move to new higher positions. So we return to recruiting, but not to external, to internal recruiting. So this is a cycle which goes through the life cycle of every employee in a company for maybe several times. And our web tutor platform covers these HR processes with a set of different modules. It isn't necessary to implement them at the same time. Our clients usually choose what they want to do first. Some clients start with automation of the recruiting process. Some start with e-learning. Some start with performance management and automation of the appraisal process. And later on, other processes can be added. Luckily, WebTutor is a single platform, although it is modular and you don't need to implement it at the same time. It's very easy to add new things to the functionality that you already have. So there are areas that we focus on, such as learning and development, personnel assessment, recruiting, and also knowledge management, what people do with the information that the company possesses, how they work with it using the tools on the HR portal. So while I'm sure the whole concept is quite clear to everybody, I would like to show you how this can work and what stands behind these words, how such automation can be done. First of all, the portal itself can be very different. What you see now is just one of the examples of the HR portal configuration. We see that in this configuration, the user is presented with the list of his to-do items, current activities that he or she needs to focus on. Then he sees the team with the colleagues with whom he can collaborate. his attention is brought to some learning resources, and so on. And this portal can be fully customized. I'll show you different setups, different designs and configurations, how real-life companies use this tool and how they configure it to themselves. If we go through our list of HR processes, we certainly start with recruiting, and here a manager at some point needs to find a new employee for his team. So he can submit a recruitment request, specify the salary range that he targets to, describe the position, and the recruitment request goes through an approval cycle. Once the position is approved, it is passed to recruiters. They use a specialized interface that helps them to work with vacancies, to publish them on websites. We support integration with more than 40 job sites in Russia. The most favorite are Headhunter and Superjob, and there are much more. When the vacancy is published on one or several portals, candidates look at the position description, and some of them respond, so we collect responses, and also we can publish vacancy on our own recruiting page. It is quite easy to embed a recruiting section into your company website and tune its design and collect resumes from people who visit your website. They can search for vacancies, they can see vacancy descriptions, and they also can provide the information filling a short online resume form. So the same vacancy would be published by one click to Headhunter and Superjob and your own website into the career section. Then when candidates are collected, recruiters can have a look at their resumes, and they can track all the steps when you work with candidates. You see the list of candidates for a certain position, for a certain vacancy, and the manager who has started looking for a new employee can see the candidates that recruiters found for him, see their resumes, provide feedback, and so on. So this is a complete cycle which starts with publishing a new vacancy request and closes when different parts, different managers who participate in the recruiting process have approved the candidate, and the candidate is brought to the company as the new employee. Now onboarding starts, and what we usually do, we present a small program for new employees so that they could ramp up on what they need to do in the company, so that they would pass some induction courses, and they would read some new information, some company documents that are relevant to their position. So usually an onboarding plan is developed for certain categories of employees, for certain categories of positions, and on portal there could be several portal sections targeted to new employees that provide materials for new hires, like tests, induction courses, e-books, wallpapers, white papers, and so on. the new employee gets familiarized with these resources and then proceeds to joins the regular learning process that the company establishes for its employees. There could be different forms of learning. Of course, the most traditional form that maybe all of you use for your employees is instructor-led training. And here you would probably want to publish a catalog of learning programs, of trainings that you have for your employees. So the internal company training center, even if you don't have it as a separate division, you still can present a set of learning resources to your employees and provide a description of what you have to offer for them, provide a training catalog that is structured and separated in several areas for which you provide trainings and learning materials. And your employees could get information about your trainings, about your learning programs, see the descriptions, see the trainers, whether they are internal trainers or training providers that you source from outside. And the training descriptions also show what competencies such trainings could develop. An employee who is interested in passing some training, or a manager who wants one of his employees to attend the training, can have a look at the training events that are scheduled for one or other training program and submit requests for participation in the training. Employees can see a training calendar on the portal. They can browse information about particular training events that happen at certain dates, and they can, when they are added to the list of participants, they can confirm their participation, and after attending the event, they can provide feedback. They can form customizable forms, feedback forms, which you set up for them in advance. So everything goes on the single HR and learning portal, and you collaborate with your employees in the area of instructor-led trainings. You can also add webinars. It's quite convenient to have webinars in the same platform, because you see webinars just as other trainings in the same event calendar. You can submit requests for webinars just as for other trainings. In Russia, more and more trainings are delivered in the form of webinars, and more trainings are moved from instructor-led trainings to e-learning. Of course, WebTutor offers tools for organizing e-learning in your company. In fact, it's very, very easy. WebTutor supports all e-learning standards, SCORM, AICC, TINCAN, so you can develop your own e-learning courses, or that's quite easier. You can get some ready-to-use e-learning content. There is plenty of ready-to-use e-learning courses in the market in Russian and in English, and it's very easy to add them to the system, create your own e-learning catalog, and your employees would browse e-learning course descriptions and would be able to start a course and then track their progress. The system gets the score that an employee gets while working with the e-learning course, tracks the progress of every employee who passes e-learning, and of course you can generate reports based on completed e-learning courses. Another form of distant learning is familiarization of e-books, various materials. It's quite easy to add various company documents to the learning portal, and you can also use online e-book reader to let your employees work with documents online without having to download documents to their computer. In some organizations, there are internal documents that are not allowed, that employees are not allowed to download, and you can limit the use of such materials by letting people work with them via online reader, but not allowed to download them. When employees complete learning, testing is usually used to check their knowledge. Also, there are many other areas when testing is used. When employees complete instructor-led trainings or webinars, or when you need to check compliance of some standards. For example, in every Russian bank, all employees are obliged to pass an annual test that shows that they are familiar with the requirements of Russian legislation in the area of prevention use of bank accounts in the aims of some terrorists and so on. So tests have different areas of application. You can easily create your own tests and assign them to your employees. Then see how they pass the tests, analyze what they know, what they don't know, and focus your subsequent training efforts on the areas that your employees don't know well. Different portal tools help your employees to focus on what they need. They can browse the resources of your online training center via a convenient map. They can see the learning programs that are recommended to them based on their position or based on a work group that they are a part of. They can see ratings of online content, and all this helps to bring attention of employees to the development resources that you have for them. Also, they can get advice from their colleagues, from experts, through discussion boards and forums. They can ask questions related to e-learning courses or other learning materials that you set up for them. They can exchange information using an online social feed similar to social networks. Then you can interact with your employees through various surveys, and all this is very easy to set up and very easy to customize. You wouldn't need any IT skills to create a new survey. Of course, you publish various news, and moreover, you can set up different workgroup websites for different workgroups. Each of the workgroups can have their own news feed, can have their own collaboration tools like the social feed for exchanging documents within a workgroup. Now I will tell you about the performance management tools that we offer to our clients. First of all, there are some preparational steps that needs to be done to start to launch automated performance management procedures. First of all, it's necessary to set up a library of KPIs that you need to control and prepare KPIs targeted to various positions. You would specify, for example, a set of KPIs for a sales manager and set up some requirements in terms of minimum and maybe maximum target values for certain KPIs. Similarly, you can have a library, predefined library of company goals that you set to employees, while adding new goals should be easier during the goal setting process. Having predefined goals usually is quite convenient. When you have completed this preparation, you can go to online assessment forms. Here I will show you just one example of online performance management procedure developed for Raiffeisen Bank Russia based on our web tutor platform. Here you see that the goal setting process starts with a form which allows an employee to look through the categories of goals, and for each category new goals can be added. You can have different scales for different KPIs and for different goals, and so you set targets in terms of these scales. Then an employee can specify his or her development, career development needs, or the areas in which he would like to develop his career. And the form goes to a manager who reviews the goals, who reviews the career orientations of an employee, and may approve the form or return it for correction. Then values or competencies of the employee are assessed. It could be a self-assessment, it could be an assessment by manager, by the direct manager or functional managers or a group of managers and experts. You can certainly use the simple 360-degree feedback and all kinds of the competency feedback collection process that is relevant to your company. Based on setting goals, based on the feedback collected for competencies, various reports are prepared. Of course, the goal setting and assessment process goes in pair. When you, for example, complete the year of 2016, you would assess the goals set for that year and set new goals to the next period, to 2017. And so on. The goals that were set for an employee in the beginning of 2017 would be automatically loaded into the assessment form in the end of the year, so that the manager would be able to assess the level of reaching of every goal and review overall reports. Competency management is somewhat similar. You define a competency model that you use in your company. You define competency profiles for your positions, for your employees, and employee or managers fill in different competency assessment forms. Of course, they can review the competency catalog. Every employee can see what competencies he needs to possess, and also what learning programs can be used to develop these competencies. And the competency assessment forms could look very different. One of the examples you saw just a couple of minutes ago in the Raiffeisen Bank project. Another example is showed here. So the scale can be quite different, and it's possible to assess competencies either directly or indirectly via behavioral indicators. Then managers can review the list of the subordinates and can see for a certain competency what employees possess this competency in the on a sufficient level, and what employees need to develop this competency. Similarly, managers can see reports for different competencies and see whether their subordinates have the required competencies as per their competency profiles, as per their position descriptions. Once we complete competency assessment, we have an overall picture of what employees can do, what are their strong areas, what are their weak areas and areas of potential development. And employees can also have some career aspirations. They can review the career tree that you can visualize for them on the HR portals and see how far are they from the from some upper level positions that they probably want to reach. They can look through position descriptions of different positions in the career tree, see the requirements for various positions, see the target competencies or competency levels that are required for employees working on some target position, and once again can see, review the learning programs that can help them to achieve their desired position. Of course, not in all companies it is possible to provide some clear career paths to employees. Unfortunately, this is an ideal world in when a company has fast development pace and it gets more and more people on board, and new high-level positions are opened to employees who already work in the company. It's an ideal picture. We sometimes see that reality is more slow, but in any case, it is a good idea for a company to build a talent pool or several kinds of talent pools to track the employees with the best performance, with the best development potential, and to see how the company can make the best use of its best employees. For talent pool members, a company can develop a plan of activities or a development plan and orient them towards reaching some high-level position in the future if it frees up from the person who currently occupies it. And so we move on to succession planning when you identify key positions for your company and would always want to have successors for key positions. For example, you have a department head who is about to retire, or vice versa, you have very strict salary budget limitations, and you know that your department head is underpaid, and so you would want to establish various risk factors for your key employees and assess the probability of the event that the person would leave your company. And if the probability is high, this is an indicator that you need to have one or several successors ready in case the key person leaves your organization. So it is easy to track successors, and ideally those are people from the talent pool who completed the development programs oriented towards reaching the key position that we are speaking of. And it is possible to review possible successors and see how they differ in terms of their development potential and in terms of their overall performance, and review each of the successors individually or compare them using the performance potential metrics that allows to visualize people from the talent pool and select the ideal internal candidate with the best development potential and the best performance. Also, managers can review, or maybe all of your employees, if your internal culture is quite open, they can review the organization structure of the company. They can review the positions that they have in the company and look at the people who occupy various positions. It's quite easy to get information about an employee and check whether it fits your company needs. Manager can review the list of his employees via a special managers panel, and managers can do various things with their subordinate employees, such as assigning courses, tests, sending requests for them to attend some trainings, approving requests coming from the employees, reviewing reports, and so on. Managers can also see the performance management results for their subordinate employees and get information about the learning programs that they have to complete, whether they how they do with the learning plan. Managers can quickly look at the employee profile and see various information about the employee, getting some overall information, or getting more focused information, for example, about e-learning passed by a certain employee, or about the results of the competency assessments performed for this employee in the past. The system also allows to find employees according to various criteria in terms of their experience, in terms of their skills and competencies, and also compare employees according to various criteria. Then there are various reporting tools, table reports, graphs, and various widgets that allow to establish an HR dashboard that you would publish to your top managers, and that would allow you to track the key indicators that characterize the HR process that you have in a company, like the attrition rate or the percent of employees who participate in various learning and development programs, and so on. Setting up such online dashboards is also quite easy. So all these tools can be used together, and as you saw, they can depend on each other. Learning can depend on assessment. Assessment can leverage the information that we have about the learning programs to let people know what they can do to improve. So having this inside one integrated platform is very, very convenient. Also, now when all people use their smartphones every hour or every 5 minutes, making these tools available on mobile devices is quite important. So we offer not only an HR portal that is available through desktop computers and notebooks, but also mobile solutions like mobile portal or specialized mobile applications. Just a short note that e-learning content which is capable of being used on both mobile devices and traditional computers can be developed with the Course Lab e-learning authoring tool. So the same HR portal can be displayed both on a computer with a high screen resolution or on a smaller smartphone screen. Or you can establish a specialized mobile portal targeted, for example, to just e-learning and publish various courses that you want your people to pass through their mobile devices. And it's very easy to start a course and pass it and submit results back to the system. Also, there are specialized mobile applications that are available for download in Google Play and Apple Store. They allow people to get key information about the use of the system. They can download various documents and have a mobile knowledge base on their smartphone. It's very convenient because when managers or employees need some information, need to refresh some information within their minds, it's good that they don't have to go to a computer and open the HR portal. It's quite easier to find this document on their smartphone. Another mobile technology which is more and more used in HR now are chatbots. There are different kinds of chatbots that can be used to automate the process of your collaboration with employees. This is a demonstration of a chatbot that can be used with your potential employees during the recruiting process. You can let them pass tests very quickly through a convenient Telegram interface. All this goes without any participation from the HR manager when the chatbot is set up. You just let people know how to connect to the bot by an ID, by a chatbot name. As I said, integration of all these tools within one software solution is very important. We more and more hear about using big data in HR. Nobody knows what is big data except big companies. Everybody heard the stories about Google using HR big data to predict performance of the employees and so on. But the truth is that you can start moving in this direction by very small steps. The first step is to collect data. The next step is to visualize data that you have using convenient reports that allows you to get information about what's going on in your company in terms of HR, and having all HR modules integrated in one software platform allows you to collect all such data in one database, allows to collect historical data that would be available later on for statistical analysis. And of course, implementation of and subsequent support and development of a system is easier when it is a one integrated platform as compared to several separate tools. Now, as I promised, I'll show you several examples of what our clients do with the WebTutor platform. You will see that these examples are very, very different from each other. An interesting fact is that the only thing that is customized is the design of a portal. Here you see design of Lukoil, and here you see design of eNano. It is a company that provides learning services to the Rosnano group of companies. And this is design used by Raiffeisen Bank. You see that they are very, very different, but underneath there is the same software which is not customized, which is not changed for one or other company, only the design is set up and configured. So it is not only about design, it is about selecting the functionality which is important to the company, important to the employees, and every company has some focus on its HR portal, some focus on e-learning, some focus on employee development, some focus on performance management and competency development. Some portals are very simple and are just about e-learning and passing tests, but it's necessary to note that for a small company which doesn't have such sophisticated tools, a first step has to be made. And usually launching an e-learning portal is a very easy to do first step. So setting up a portal which allows your employees to pass e-learning courses, to pass tests, to collaborate using forums, to get various documents is very, very easy. It's a matter of sometimes a couple of weeks to configure such a simple portal. Some other examples. show that visual solutions can be very different. And an interesting thing about such portals is that more and more now they're used to increase motivation of employees by gamification scenarios. Many of our clients have set up various rules for calculating bonuses for their bonus points for their employees, virtual bonus points, which are added to their virtual accounts based on some activities completed on the HR portal. Employees get bonuses, get new levels, and they review ratings, and they see their position in the rating, and they can use these bonuses in a corporate online gift store to rewards for their activities, like sometimes it is a company mug or t-shirt, sometimes it is an expensive training that employee would be sent to as a reward for his or her activity on the HR portal. So gamification tools help to make sure that your employees would accept the idea of using the portal, that they would start to collaborate and help each other using the online tools available on the portal. Another addition to gamification scenarios is saying thank you to colleagues for their help, and you also pass some bonus points to them while saying thank you. So all such solutions are quite easy to configure, maybe except the performance management procedures that could be quite complex, but we usually offer some ready-to-use solutions based on our library of best practice, which allows to get ready-to-use solutions implemented in other companies and implemented in your company too. Another interesting area, which is a kind of a trend in Russia, is building knowledge portals. Companies which have lots of information need to work with this information, need to structure it, need to help the employees to find the required knowledge, so they create an online knowledge base, they structure information according to pre-selected categories, and they allow people to easily reach company experts that can give answers to various questions and can help them in various day-to-day work needs. So these are some examples of such knowledge portals. One of the characteristics of contemporary learning portals is a high level of collaboration. People set up work groups, and they collaborate with each other within the work groups by publishing materials, exchanging information, and gamification tools allow to rank the level of activity of different work group members and see the employees with the highest activities. It is a good practice which is used, by the way, by Gazpromneft, the company which we are talking about now, the learning portal. to reward people with the highest activity offline. They, for example, every year they have big company meetings when they speak about the next steps in the area of company development, and they invite the employees who have the highest level of activity on the knowledge and HR portal to these events. They show such employees as an example for others, and they give some real-life rewards to them for their activity. So all these tools are available in several forms. Of course, it is possible to purchase this system and install it within your company, but what I would like to recommend is the option of using this such solutions as a service, which is the software as a service model, where the software is available from the cloud. It can be installed on the Microsoft Azure platform, which is a cloud computing platform, quite easy to use, and there are several reasons why we recommend this approach. Usually HR departments face several challenges when they start thinking about launching a new HR solution. First of all, some new hardware needs to be purchased to install new software, and it can be expensive, or it can be a long process to find budgets for purchasing hardware and to actually complete this purchase and set up new hardware. Then the IT department is not always easily available for the needs of HR. Then there can be various restrictions if you set up a system within your corporate network. Some companies wouldn't allow people from outside to go to the system. So a very good choice is placing the system in the cloud in the Microsoft Azure platform, where you wouldn't have any upfront hardware costs. Your initial investment is very, very low. Then you use the high reliability of the platform, which ensures that your data would be safe and that you would be able to reach your portal from any place, from work, from home, from any point of the world. It is also an interesting fact is that usually HR portals are not used with the same load all the time. There are peak periods when employees would pass the annual performance management procedure, or you would have all your company employees to pass certain tests, and in these peak periods the load on the system is high and you need more hardware resources to cope with the load. If you purchase hardware in-house, then you need to purchase enough hardware so that it would be able to process the peak load. But 95% of the time during the year, that amount of hardware is not needed. In the case of Microsoft Azure platform, it is quite easier to add virtual hardware resources when we need them and to free them up after that, and you stop paying for resources that are not used. And as I said, reliability of the Microsoft Azure platform is very, very high. Microsoft guarantees 99.95% availability, and in fact we started using the platform more than 5 years ago, We had just one case when the system was not available in the cloud because of some platform problems, and the period of time was 30 minutes. So 30 minutes during the period of 5 years is an excellent result, so we are very happy about using the Microsoft platform for offering our web tutor platform to our clients. There are about 70 companies that use web tutor in Microsoft Azure, and the percentage of clients that purchase web tutor for in-house installation versus the clients who go to the cloud changed dramatically over the past several years. 5 years ago, most companies wanted to purchase licenses to place web tutor on their own servers. Now more and more companies realize that the better step is go to the cloud. Some big companies have concerns about the clouds because they wouldn't control their data. But there is a very short answer to this question. We have an example project where a bank, and banks are usually most concerned of the privacy of their information. A bank from Ukraine called Credo Bank decided to place the web tutor platform into the cloud, and they do a very simple thing. They purchased their own cloud account from Microsoft, and that meant that all data that are placed into the cloud are controlled fully by the bank itself. No other party is able to get access to the data. No one is allowed to connect to the servers, to the virtual servers, except the bank employees. And of course, Microsoft has very strict procedures within their own data center, which exclude the probability that some unwanted people would get access to the servers when your actual data reside. So in this case, a bank set up web tutor in their own cloud account and connected it to the internal network, and they so that web tutor could get all information about employees from their in-house HR tracking system. I don't remember, maybe it was SAP or 1S, 1C, I don't know. But anyway, the automated procedure of getting such data from the HR records training system was developed, and by the way, this is the most traditional form of how people information about your employees gets loaded into the system. You would never add employees manually into a web tutor. You would normally want to get that information automatically from the system which you already use. So, as I said, implementation of such a system can be very, very quick. Placing a new copy of web tutor in the cloud takes just several minutes, and to launch a portal, fill it with the initial information, integration with your in-house HR tracking system is usually a process of that takes about 2-3 months. As I said, a library of ready-to-use solutions, the best practice library, helps to customize the product to your needs easily. So, I would like to thank you for your attention. We would be certainly happy to tell you more about our software, about its advantages if you have any questions. So you are very welcome to add questions now. If If not, I will be available later. You can talk to me. Yes, please.
Platform and Microsoft Office 365.
Microsoft Office 365 is also based on Microsoft's cloud resources, cloud data centers, but this is Microsoft Office. It is a software suite. Colleagues from Microsoft will help me to answer this question. Yeah.
So just to make simple and make clear, to clarify your question, Microsoft Office 365 is productivity suite, which provides you to get Office with all its components, SharePoint, Exchange, which is mailing system, SharePoint, which is document management solution, and Skype for Business, which is communication to web conferencing, etc., in one bundle. Azure is infrastructure, which provides you somewhere in the cloud space where you can load your solutions. It can be different type of solutions. It can be CRM, it can be HR, it can be like infrastructure, like virtualization, etc., etc. And there are a lot of solutions that Microsoft Cloud can accommodate. Okay, it's like you can imagine it like a server, where you can load many different applications. Office 365 is just is Office with its components, which we call it productivity suite. And there is another thing just I want to add regarding the Microsoft Azure. Azure is a space, let's say it's a solution for the countries that are in very difficult political situations. For example, the example of Ukrainian bank is very like suitable, I mean, for our case. In Ukraine, many banks, organizations went to the cloud. Why? Because they have this political situation, war. Azure provides you cybersecurity, so which is security from attacks. Nobody, I mean, I don't want to say anything from our like IT managers, security guys, etc. But we know how to defend our system. We created all solutions and we know how to defend them. And this is the place where, I mean, even I tried to get some of the companies in Karabakh to Azure, like telecom and banking companies, explaining them that, guys, if you go to Azure, I mean, simply, the simplest way to go to Azure is to upload your website there. It will protect you from DDoS attacks. It will protect you from different attacks, malware, etc., etc. Because our security, like security in Azure, is 99.49, right? 49. It's the highest level of it's the highest level of protection. And don't worry about cloud. We are all in the cloud, like starting from the age when internet comes up. We are using Hotmail, Gmail, Yahoo. It's cloud. There is nothing like to be afraid of. It's era of like transformation. It's era of cost cutting. It's era of automation. So to get more automated your solutions, your system, at least you can do more interesting job. I mean, this all like routine work you can provide to the solution, and you give more like interesting and creative work. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yes, please.
How this program work with compensation system? Because I cannot see the connection between compensation system and HR, because they are occasionally applications and no termination and return. So it's how it works. Is it possible to connect?
Yes, thank you for this question. I decided not to mention the compensation part of the picture because our time is limited, but I will answer your question quickly. There are several ways how WebTutor is used in the area of compensation. First of all, you can define compensation and benefits for certain positions. You can have a system of grades with salary ranges for every grade, and you can have this system loaded into the WebTutor, configured in the WebTutor, and you can let your managers see how the employees fit into your system of grades and how they use your benefits that you offer to them. You can, as a result of performance management procedures, you can calculate the bonus size depending on the overall performance, and based on the performance results, you can move a person to another grade. You can calculate the bonus size and pass this result back to the system, which calculates monthly or quarterly salary for you. And then you can use some subset of benefits that are available for people occupying a certain position or work within a certain grade. You can use them as a reward to an employee. So, for example, based on the results of performance assessment for the year of 2016, an employee could get a company sponsorship of some learning programs, plus medical insurance, plus 50% of payment for a fitness center, and so on. So all these benefits can be registered in the system and use, you can track their usage. Also, it is possible to build reports that compare the salaries of your employees with figures from the market. Yeah, if you get reports from some agencies about the salaries in your area where your company works, you can load these data in table format into the system and compare your employees' salaries with the market average.
Can I ask you please to fill in this questionnaire and pictures or give kind of
Thank you.